guys want a shot at winning a copy of Call of Duty World War II for the console of your choice for absolutely free, a couple of my friends and I are doing a little giveaway. Link is down there in the description below. Go check it out if you're interested. As per norm at this point with recent videos, I just feel like it needs to be said that we're so close yet so far from Call of Duty World War II's launch, and it's doing nothing but making me all the more excited and anxious. Now we're just a few days away now, and I'm sure that it's getting harder and harder to contain yourself and to wait it out, because I'm feeling the same exact way. But we're so close, and we're getting a ton of info finally on the game via leaks on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere else, you name it. And as of recently, it's been drier than the Sahara Desert coming this close to launch. We usually get full listings of things revealed to us about 2 weeks or so beforehand when retailers start getting their shipments of games. So by comparison, it's very weird that it's been held off until just a few days before now at this point, which props to Sledgehammer for keeping everything under wraps here and all that, which is always nice for their end, but for the consumers, some people really want to see some of this stuff. But as we mentioned, for the first time in what, if I'm not mistaken, is the first time in COD history, there were actually a ton of preventative measures that went into place to combat these leaks that are now finally happening. And that being what we pointed out in the last two videos, a physical in-game lock that would not allow early physical copies, because digital copies can't actually access the game until launch, but it would not allow the physical copies to get past the main launch menu screen, in which Call of Duty World War II was displayed the logo prominently front and center. However, that situation changed today as an update went live on PlayStation 4 specifically. I'm not entirely sure about the Xbox One just yet, but the PlayStation 4 for sure had this update, and once again, only for players with the physical copies in hand. This update allowed that lock to be lifted and for players to access everything about the game that is available in the offline modes only. That being because servers are not online yet. They probably will be in a day, 2, or maybe 3, as they always stress test the servers before launch, but for the time being, you can't do anything in regards to the online portion. So that brings us to today, where tons of leaks have already started, which I want to discuss first and foremost in a bit of a vague yet kind of specific way, in which we'll run down a few things in specifics, but also in a little bit more of a vague manner for some things as well too. We're not going to be talking about all that many things, but there are some things that I want to cover, and then I want to primarily discuss the strangest part about all of this. An oddity, if you will, and something that does not add up with everything that we're seeing thus far. So a little bit of a two-parter. We'll talk a little bit about these leaks, not everything going too in-depth, but just some general information about stuff that we can see and some more stuff that you might not know about, but then what doesn't really make sense to me. So that said, spoilers are ahead, you've been warned, but before we jump into it, a few housekeeping items. Once again, spoilers are ahead first and foremost, so I know some people aren't keen on them. It's up to you guys if you want to continue watching at this point. Secondly, if you're lucky enough to get your hands on a copy of the game early, it's easy to want some juice on Twitter, YouTube, or wherever if you have a copy early to leak these sort of things out, but one thing you have to keep in mind through all of that, as enticing as it may sound, is that the content is still embargoed, and any leaks, screenshots, gameplay, or anything like that is copyrighted intellectual property of Activision, which can and probably will be taken down, so I wouldn't compromise the accounts if I were you, but that's up to you, just be careful nonetheless. But we talked about spoilers, so let's talk a little bit about them before getting into what's weird again. Some of these I'm gonna be a little bit more vague than others on, simply to keep it enough to get the points across, but also not spoil anything too major for those that really just want the general information. So let's talk about weaponry, because a lot of what we discussed previously and was found in the beta code was confirmed by what we saw today in these recent leaks. Such things like the assault rifles of the M1941, the M1 Garand, the STG-44, the M1A1, the FG-42, and the BAR or the Browning automatic rifle in the classified of the SVT-40 are in the game, SMGs of the M3, which is the grease gun, the PPSH, the Type 100, the WAF-28, the M1928 Thompson, and the classified of the MP40, the LMGs of the Lewis, MG-15, Bren, and classified MG-42, snipers like the Model 38M, Lee Enfield, M1903, and the Kar-98 classified weapon there, the shotguns of the Winchester 1897, M30 Luftwaffe drilling, the toggle action, and then the final classified weapon of the Model 21. So that said, that's a lot of what we already saw in the beta, and so therefore a lot of this we've already seen. Some things we already knew was going to be coming as well too. There weren't too many that really took us by surprise with this one. As far as multiplayer goes though, in terms of other aspects, there's a lot of things that you might see, such as the map listings. Those were front and center in the detailed reports of the leaks, and they actually are a key portion of what doesn't make sense, and we'll get to that in just a second. But there's a total of 10 maps in the leaked build that we've seen thus far as of today. 9 if you don't count Carrington, which is a season pass only map. So we've seen Aachen, Ardennes Forest, Gibraltar, and Pointe du Hoc in the beta, but they're accompanied by Flak Tower, which was actually seen at the esports reveal, and when the beta went live again for a few minutes about a week or so ago. Then also there's Gustav Cannon, London Docks, Sainte Marie du Mont, USS Texas, and of course Carrington. Additionally, in terms of war mode, we actually have a couple of different ones here, with that being, we already saw Operation Breakout in the beta, but it's accompanied by Operation Griffin and Operation Neptune. Neptune being D-Day. Omaha Beach, the classic that of course we all knew was going to be coming. Camos and such, I won't detail too much, but they all are era specific for now. Nothing's incredibly poppy like a sunshine camo or anything like that that's completely just out there, nothing like a hot pink or I guess cherry fizz if you want to look at it in a Black Ops 3 manner. They're all standard camos that you'd actually see for camouflage, so take that how you will. There's a bit of customization and attachments, which is cool. Not entirely my thing and what I think is the most necessary, but what I saw, it was pretty cool in the option that it was there. Bots are also playable offline, so bots will be returning. Nice to see that, and I know a couple people asked me that over on Twitter, and I think in the comments of yesterday's video as well too, so that's confirmed. Zombies-wise though, this is where a lot of people are gravitating towards. Zombies, I won't go into a lot of detail on the gameplay mechanics and specifics for it, but there is one thing that I feel like, for those looking for broad general information on the leaks, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I intentionally left it out. So this one's a big one. If you don't want to hear it, skip ahead probably about 30 seconds to a minute. And with that said, if you got it, let's just jump into it. There's supposedly a second map on the disc, not just the one that we've seen in the trailer, that being the Final Reich. The second map is supposedly called Grosten Haus, which means literally biggest house, and it looks absolutely nuts. It's described as a survival mode, and it literally feels like Nocturne Toten, the very first small, close quarters, creepy era, all that kind of stuff, and the sole purpose is just to see how long you can survive in the tight, close-quartered house. It looks challenging, it looks brilliant, it looks a ton of fun, and I'm excited to see how this plays out. Now, as for right now, we don't know how to get it, whether it's a 5 type of map where you have to complete the campaign, or if it's just there off the launch, we don't know, but it is on the disc there, and it's something that was leaked out today, so take it how you will. So general information out of the way, this to me doesn't add up. This, while we have some cool stuff detailed to us out of these leaks and everything like that, and while it gets me excited, it doesn't add up entirely. This doesn't feel right. And I'm sure you've already seen some of what I'm talking about, because a lot of people are really upset about the amount of maps that we've seen, because let's be real, 10 maps in a launch of a multiplayer game such as Call of Duty is incredibly low, and especially compared to what we've seen previously, it's low as well too. There's even more listed in the game code from the beta that are not detailed in this current build that's been leaked out, and one specifically even mentioned by Condry called Wolf's Lair. So you might be seeing where I'm going with this, but if not, there's tons of other things that are missing too within what we see now, what's available at the very moment for people that have the physical copies of Call of Duty World War II and the ability to leak these sort of things out. Such things like ground war and party modes for starters, which are large pieces themselves, are not listed here at all with that. Streaks like the advanced UAV and the V2 rocket, or what a lot of people are thinking is the nuke, are not present. I know people that do have copies of the game early, they even tested it out with the bots, that the V2 rocket, which if it is the theoried nuke, if you want to put the air quotes on that, that was not something where it's a hidden streak that pops up once you hit a certain kill streak. There's literally no mention of headquarters content, and while that may be something that's maybe because it's just an offline modes, it's still curious that that's such a prominent thing and none of it is present. And another thing that's missing is a technicality that it's still the same old hit markers and accompanying sound that were at the very beginning of what we saw with Call of Duty World War II. What's in the build right now is the reverted back to the old ones, in which Condry himself and the community spoke out about this, and they were subsequently changed as the beta progressed. So we ended up seeing something that got to a point where players and Condry himself loved what they got to, but what's in the build right now does not have that. So all of these things and more don't add up to me. So where does this leave us? What does this bring us to? Well, I think the solution is that they're withholding content from this current build. It's gonna sound weird to say, but let me explain. First and foremost, I think it comes down to what the theoried day one update will be, the contents of that, and how large it will be. from some things I've seen around different social medias and everything like that, bear in mind none of this is confirmed, and thus it's something that is speculation at this point, but I think it makes sense. The rumored size that I've seen for this day one update is right around 7 gigabytes. So that's something that is quite a hefty day one update, and for a lot of people, whenever they first get that online, it's gonna be a little bit more time to download it and everything like that as well too. So my thinking is that inside this 7 gigabytes are a couple more maps, some different playlists, some different streaks, some things all throughout there in which it's just the final missing puzzle pieces to give us the complete game of Call of Duty World War II. And while this kind of sounds a little bit crazy at the start, we also have to bear in mind that this is the first year in which there's a ton of different preventative measures going into World War II, and in the name of simply trying to stop leaks. I mean, when's the last time that we saw early copies of the game physically lock people out of anywhere outside of the main menu? That's a first in Call of Duty's history, so something like this is not out of the realms of possibilities, especially when you take a look at it in the more technical aspect that they would not have reverted the game build this far back to whenever before some things like the hit marker sounds were changed. So to me, I feel like there's definitely going to be another patch before launch or another patch at launch that fixes some of these things, adds some more stuff in, or maybe I'm completely wrong. Who knows? Maybe this is just completely wrong speculation. My hunch is completely out there, and it's something in which we will only get, say, 10 maps in multiplayer to start. We will have a couple of things missing, like the V2 rocket, that theory nuke. Maybe it was cut. Maybe the advanced UAV streak is cut. Maybe the things like ground war and party modes are only accessible in the online versions, and of course, maybe then they're also headquarters is only available in the online version as well too, and maybe hit markers were in fact reverted back. So I guess we'll see in time here with this. We're only a few short days away, but it's something that just did not add up to me. Something did not really click as feeling 100% complete here with this out of what I've seen thus far. Maybe you guys feel the same way, maybe you guys do not, but that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up, and that's where we can definitely leave it over to you guys. What do you think? Do you think we're missing a little bit too much here to call this a complete game at the moment, that there's going to be something added in on top of what we have, either a patch or some things like that, that will unhide everything that may be hidden within World War II, or do you think that what we have right now is the game that we have? Love to get your thoughts and feedback here down there in the comment section down below, because right now there is no right or wrong answer. It's just theory, speculation, and I'd love to get your thoughts and opinions. With that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with everything we have here regarding Call of Duty World War II, just a few days away now, so make sure you guys stick it right here so you don't miss anything in regards to news, information, tips, tricks, general overview of leaks like this, anything like that that relates to World War II. If you guys are interested in any of it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss a beat. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter, that is the best place. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. I practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, wherever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And one final thing, I want to thank you guys so much for the continued support as of recently. You guys have been absolutely killing it, and I cannot thank you guys enough for showing the support day in and day out on these videos as of recently. Hopefully you guys are hyped for the game. I know I certainly am, and I definitely can't wait to jump into World War II with all of you guys. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for the continued support. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Mine is an espresso. Take care, and peace.